Hello guys, it's Lady Callista. So I am making this video on familiars. It's kind of a follow-up to the initial video that I did on familiars and like how many buildings and like what familiars exist. This is a bit more detailed, and the reason that I wanted to do that is because I'm still getting a ton of questions around it, and I think the questions are a lot more tactical than theoretical, which is what my original video was kind of around. So what I'm going to tell you is all the things that you need to be mindful of when you're getting your familiars done and what I recommend. So step one is going to be familiar gear. Now I have not spent one dime on any familiar gear, and you can see some of it that I have is gold. So you want to make sure that every time you're doing anything related to your familiars that you are popping on your familiar gear. If you don't have any, I recommend that you try to forge some. You might be surprised just from hunting the familiar gear kind of monster, the monster that drops those things. You'll kind of see it. Now, you can see who I have in my monster hold. I'll be totally honest with you guys. When this first came out, I was not about that life. I was just like not all about that. I was not focusing on it. And then as I started seeing like my guild talking about it, I was like, you know what? I really should give this a shot, right? Because like I was at the place where I was just like, not really interested. I don't even understand like all this like intricacy and like, do I really have the gear? Do I not? So I decided to kind of sit down and start working on this stuff with the end game goal of being able to come back and tell you guys about it. Now, who do I recommend? I recommend Trickstar. You can see why here. He is going to grant you 3 random Holy Star items. I recommend Gemming Gremlin. He is going to give you guys gems. Who does not want that? And I recommend Goblin. If you guys are still unlocking T4, Goblin is going to be awesome. Even if you've already unlocked T4 and you're creating T4, like gold is always important. I also recommend Noceris, and I will tell you guys why. You can do some cheeky stuff here, very cheeky. You're able to basically like automatically gather a farming tile, right? Like a tile of resources. You can do some awesome stuff to try to cap leaders here. I promise you I will try to get something on video. My guild is awesome at doing stuff like that, and they use that skill, so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it today. So more to come on that. I have to get it basically like on video. Now, step 1 was the gear. Step 2 is going to be your research, right? So you have a research tree that's dedicated to familiars. Guys, this is not like, it's not pay to play. Like, this is totally free to play friendly. I recommend pack 3. So Trickstar, the gems, the gold, the stars, that's all pack 3. So I only got up to pack 3 because that's what I wanted, right? So that was what I was focused on. I was like, all right, when I'm ready for more, I will look into pack 4. That takes a lot more time. So again, I'm playing this as free to play as possible, right? So once you've basically unlocked pack 3 in the research, you can go into this section and you can basically create the packs, so to speak, right, that you need to basically run. Now you should always make sure, and I'm just showing you guys some of the other familiars that are really great in my opinion. A lot of them will give you like infantry boost, cavalry boost, so those are the ones that I'm working on now. But you basically go into your spire, you click the pack that you want to create, you basically will take that lever, max it out, make sure that you have the right amount of resources. For me, always clearly I have really high consumption rates. I always have to include food, right? I have to open up food to be able to have kind of like the right amount of packs. So you make sure you set that. Now let's talk about the gym. I have 3 gyms. How many gyms you have depends on you. Right now what I've been doing is really focusing on having 2 familiars at least training at a time. Now what you want to do here is you want to make sure, this is super important, so many of you guys have mailed me realizing that you've made this mistake, is you don't allocate any heroes to your training. So if you take a look where it says 18 and 22, you see like a little almost like a helmet, 18, helmet 22. Those are the amount of heroes that I have allocated per familiar. You want to make sure that you evenly split them out. So if you want to do 2, divide your heroes by 2. If you want to do 3, divide them by 3. Okay, so what did we talk about? We talked about our gear, we talked about our research, we talked about creating packs, we talked about training. So make sure you have all that stuff happening. Here I'm showing you another reason why I think Trickstar is so dope is he also helps you with your ranged attack. Like, hello, that's awesome, right? And that's where I think it gets confusing, right? The level, like you can see Pyrus right now is level 50 and his stage is adult, and that's where I think a lot of people just get stuck and they don't understand why that very bottommost where it says unlocked at elder stage, why can't they get that? So check this out. The reason that I cannot unlock, for example, Pyrus's Blazing Trail, which is what I want, is because I need Pyrus to be a level 60. Okay, so where you see level 50 right now, I need that to say level 60. However, if I put him in the gym, he's not going to hit level 60 until I've moved his stage from adult to elder. So right now you can see 47 out of 120 medals. That's how many I have. I need basically 120 minus 47 more medals to be able to hit 120 out of 120 to basically move my Pyrus to elder. Once he's in elder stage, then I can put my bad boy back in the gym and he can work to that level 60, and then I can unlock the last talent that you see there. This is what I think confuses everyone. Like, no joke. Like, I've seen this in streams, I've seen this in videos, like people don't get why. And that is literally why, right? It is unlocked at the elder stage, so you basically need first the medals to unlock to elder, and then you put your familiar into the gym to basically hit level 60. So that's why, right? And you're gonna notice, especially for these pack 3 familiars, all the good stuff, guys, is at the elder stage, right? So you can see there, I got him to elder stage. You can see here, he's in a hatchling stage, right? And the reason for that is another thing I want to talk to you guys, which is not only the, what I call medals, but they call runes, right? So I'll use their terminology, runes. That's basically like the cards, right, with the picture of the familiar. You're able to also break down the runes and create fragments. And fragments you can use almost as a shortcut to the gym. So think of it as steroids. That might be, I don't know, that might not be a great analogy, but it kind of is. So you kind of take your, right now I have 235 runes. Now I can't upgrade him, right? So the inverse also holds true. So I want to show you guys here, I have more than enough medals, but I can't upgrade him because he's not level 50 yet, right? So in order to get to level 60, I need to first make sure that I've gotten my familiar to level 50. So that's something that might feel a little confusing, but the game will kind of work you through it, right? Because like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I have enough medals, I should be able to hit upgrade. But no, he's only level 21. He needs to hit level 50. Then once he hits level 50, I need the medals to basically move him up to level to stage elder, and then I can go back and move his experience up to level 60. Does that make sense? It's kind of like it's like kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4 step, right? It's like you need to make sure that you have your experience maxed so that then you can upgrade your familiar to then max that experience again. That's kind of like what it is in a nutshell, which I know can feel confusing, but once you go through it a couple of times, it's really easy. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is, and I talked about this a little bit, is kind of like the runes and the fragments. Fragments you can use, again, the steroids, right? Like it'll give you more experience. Here you can see it. Now here's the cool thing, guys, and I want you to make sure you don't forget. You can see I have 336 fragments. I get those by creating packs, but I also get them by basically dissolving the runes or the metals, right, that I'm not going to use anymore. Now this is going to reset once a day, okay? Just the way that your Holy Star kind of free shot resets once a day. At the same time, this will reset. Don't go too crazy here at a time, right? You want to make sure you wait for the reset. So right now you can see every time that I upgrade and take that steroid shortcut, it costs more and more each time. So you don't want to like waste them all. You want to do like, I would say a max of 3. And you can see here, if I did it a maximum of 3 times, it gets expensive for every single familiar. It's not like you have the opportunity to do this for every familiar 3 times and you start from it requiring 12 fragments. It's like once you hit a higher level, it's a higher level for everybody. So be very mindful of who and what you're kind of focusing that on. And you want to make sure that you're doing that every single day because it does reset. So don't forget. That's another big thing that I think is going to help you guys kind of like move forward really quickly. So again, we talked about the gear. We talked about the research. I'm kind of showing you guys this here. Pack 3 is kind of what I recommend, especially if you're free to play. We talked about the different familiars, right? So you can kind of see the ones that I recommend: Trickstar, the Gemming Gremlin, and the Goblin. The Goblin is also super helpful, right? Even if you need other resources, you can always trade gold at a higher rate. So that's kind of cool. And then we talked about, let's see, we talked about the gym, right? Make sure that you're setting heroes against each of your monsters. And I apologize if I sound redundant, but this is something that I get mailed. I've been getting mailed for this for months. Like literally, I did this just to show you guys. And then you go into your packs. You make sure that you always have packs cooking. So this is going to be one of those things, guys, that you're going to do like a couple of times a day. You're always going to put on your familiar gear before you do it, but you want to make sure you always have somebody training. You always have packs cooking. Those things should always be happening, okay? And you want to be clear on who you want to focus on and who you don't. The other thing we talked about that's super complicated, or at least I think it confuses people, is adult versus elder. You always have to make sure that you're constantly training in the gym. If it says, you know, you don't have the right level to keep going, it's probably because you hit level 50 and you need more runes to get to level 60 because you need to be an elder, right? So that's kind of like how they've built it. So there's a couple of different things and levers that you need to constantly be aware of. And in terms of where you want to dedicate the experience, again, I want to make sure you guys are doing this every single day, that you're selecting how you would like to upgrade. You don't go too crazy. You do it maybe once, maybe twice. Sometimes you'll get lucky and get like that 2x experience. But you want to be very, very careful and mindful of who you want to go first. That is totally up to you. And then the last thing is, the really cool thing is now you have the support skills. So you can see, and I apologize that I wasn't able to show you guys me actually using these, but I did want to get this video kind of done after all these months of like working on this, literally since the summer. The summer is when I started working on this, guys, just so you know. So it's been like 4 months or 5 months free to play when it comes to this. And you can see I get 3 random Holy Star items. I get 5 to 10 million gold, and I get 1 to 2,000 gems every time that I do this. And there's obviously cooldowns, right, guys, that come into play here, so you can't just always have it on. There is like a day or two cooldown. But hopefully this is helpful. If you have more questions, please place them down below. And as usual, thank you so much for watching.